Hello everybody and welcome back to WCS America Premier League Group D action as we are watching our reigning champion Big Baby in action today. And we also have a North American face once more. I believe Illusion made it to all 3 seasons of Premier League this year, Nate. That's actually an achievement already.
He's stepped it up compared to last year for sure. I've been pretty impressed. He does some big Illusions. He's always like, I know him. I know that he's a very active guy. He's been hitting the gym a lot too. I know he doesn't play as much as I want him to. But he's like, he always comes in, he's like, I actually play better sometimes. And I'm just, I walk in, just walks in, he's like, okay, StarCraft, let's do this. And then he just comes in and wrecks face. And he's managed to do that again, which is pretty impressive, all things considered. Illusion is a very good player, of course. He's a player that's got a crazy amount of talent and potential. But last year, he wasn't able to really show it off. He had a pretty, I'd say last year was pretty dead for Illusion. But this year, he's pulled in some decent money off WCS, and he's been slowly improving in his results outside of these tournaments as far as qualifiers and whatnot goes. So I'm excited to see him against Czech because I feel like TvZ is actually one of his stronger matchups with how crazy aggressive he can play.
And if there was one group, I would say, like, hey, you know what, Illusion, this is a doable group for you. I actually think on paper this is a really good group for Illusion. It could have maybe been easier if, would have just somehow, like, saying weaker players is not fair because everybody is very good. But if you would have done it with a few underdogs. But I think this is one of the best groups that Illusion could have been in. It's still going to be very difficult as Czech is an unbelievably good Zerg player who made it to WCS America round of 16 last season. And I actually put him on my fantasy league team back then because I thought he was going to go all the way. I thought that he was going to be the Big Baby of last season. But still, it's possible. Shana is a good Protoss, but I think Illusion on the North American server should be able to defeat Shana. And there is, of course, also a chance that Illusion is going to play twice today against Czech. Either way, the first best of 3 before Illusion and Czech is ready. It should be fun. Our North American Terran representing Ro32 going up against this red Zerg spawning on the left top side of the map. He was a little bit of a dark horse last season, and like I said, I put him on my fantasy team back then. I thought he was going to go all the way, and he was good, but perhaps he wasn't Big Baby good. It's Way Spider, Czech.
Czech showed some good games, showed some really aggressive play in his matches last season, and I expect to see some roaches out of him in this best of 3 for sure, at least some point or another.
Yeah, he's definitely your roachy type of Zerg.
Yeah.
Actually opening up the spawning pool first over here, as you guys can see.
15 pool. Lots of Zerg's been doing this recently. Illusion is going to open up with a command center first. Of course, he is representing Root Gaming. He's the American Terran. He is Illusion. Most known, his first big breakout on the StarCraft 2 was that epic run he had. It was at IPL 3. Was it
IPL
3 or 4? Where he beat like Squirtle with Mech.
Yep.
People were like, what is this?
Now, Illusion had a great run. He was actually the best non-Korean performing player at IPL 4 together with Sase. Which was surprising because I think if a lot of people, if you ask them, like, hey, what do you remember of IPL 4 other than a live beating Squirtle in the final, then probably people would say, like, that was Scarlet's breakout tournament. That was the first time we saw her in action, and she did amazing. And yes, that's true, but Illusion did even better that tournament. Of course, by now Scarlet has made up for that, and she deserves all the fame. But back then, Illusion had a very good run. I think he also had a very good run at MLG Providence in 2012. He also defeated a lot of high-level players. I think he defeated Chef back then and a couple of other big names. So Illusion has been around the scene for a long time. Once upon a time, he was this young, talented, exciting North American Terran. By now, we'd almost call him a veteran as he's been to so many tournaments. He's been on quite a few teams as well. Of course, he was on Quantic for a long time. Even spent quite a bit of time, I believe, in Southern California. Then went back to the East Coast. Then went back to Southern California, North California actually, to spend some time in the Root Gaming house. So he knows what it is to live in a team house. He's been having a lot of optimal practice conditions, you could say. And this could be, a very big season for Illusion, but it's going to be difficult regardless.
Yep. This opening gives Czech an opportunity to get really aggressive. I think if he had made something like 6 Lings, he has potential to do crazy damage, but he doesn't know that Illusion would have, if he would have a wall or not. So these 2 Lings don't really accomplish much.
No Reaper opening actually for Illusion.
Yeah, I mean, out of Command Center first, you're basically sacrificing that scouting advantage just for much faster economy, which I think versus Czech's opening is actually really good because Reaper openings are more susceptible to early pools than Command Center firsts these days, mostly because your Reaper is out on the map and that's when the Zerglings run in and kill your much later command center. Like the timing is actually better these days for that. But Illusion's just gonna go full on man mode here with this third fast command center.
Yeah, a very, very economic opening over here for Illusion, who has not actually did scout with the SCV early on. The SCV died on top of his ramp. That's right.
But seeing the queen and that hatchery timing, he knows that it was a pull first. And I guess he shouldn't really be concerned about it at this point because it's not like he took gas.
No, but he doesn't know that.
Yeah,
like,
so he's going to wall off, but I mean, it's not too hard when you go for a fast third command center to wall this map off anyway. The biggest threat is what's coming next, and I believe it's going to be Roaches because you did see a gasless opener. Check showing that he likes this. Pretty much every good Zerg player goes Roaches on this map.
I think I know what's going on over here, Nate. This is the answer that Terran players have been looking for to deal with the 1-1 Roach timing. This command center is going to turn into a planetary fortress. Look at me now, Roaches. I'm kidding.
You know, I actually had a build once where I did that. I opened like 4 command centers, and you just turn, like, you planetary your third, and then it's like impossible to break with any fast attack, and you just mule it, and they waste a whole army trying to kill it.
If these rocks wouldn't have been here, it would actually definitely keep you safe against Roaches, because even though it doesn't drop mules, you're still able to produce SCVs 3 at a time, so it's something. You're getting something out of it. It's a massive flight power, but of course it's just going to be an orbital command for now.
Yeah.
It would be cool though.
Unsurprisingly, 1-1 starts up for the Roaches, and the Roach Horn's on the way. The lair is coming in.
I think once upon a time when a Terran player is just so sick of losing to 1-1 Roaches, if he lost 10 games in a row, he's going to do that exact build. This is super greedy, by the way. He's also getting both E-base before any additional Rexes. Like, this couldn't have been any more greedy for Illusion than it is so far. This is a build I think that Innovation and Flash were doing so much, roughly, I wouldn't even say a year ago, but like 6 to 9 months ago, they were always opening up like this. It's a very greedy opening, Nate. You don't have a whole lot of units to work with.
Yeah, I'm already really worried for Illusion. He needs to recognize what's going on. Sees how late the third hatchery is. He's like, oh, okay, still got Queens pushing to creep. Like, honestly, it's worth losing these Hellions to run in and scout this. He needs to scan. He needs to scan or go in. Like,
he could have actually gone it. I mean, unless he wants to keep the Hellions over here.
One barracks production isn't even enough. No. He could start building Marauders. He could have started building Marauders as soon as that tech lab was done, and it wasn't going to be enough. Because now, he's starting barracks now. These barracks are going to finish right as 1-1 completes. He's actually only got 1 barracks production worth to defend this. He needs like 5 bunkers, and even then he can't fill them all. Yeah,
best case scenario for Illusion is that after these 9 Roaches, Check goes back to droning, and then maybe against 15 Roaches, Illusion can still stabilize, but so far we see 13 Roaches on the production tab. This is probably going to be over 20 Roaches, 1-1 Roach timing.
Like, Illusion built 8 Hellions, so he built more than he needed, which delayed his barracks even more. Like, if this factory started pumping out double Widowmine right now, it would actually help a lot, since the splash damage is going to soften the Roaches significantly, but these Hellions have a very low chance of actually keeping the Roaches away from him.
I think what he's hoping for is to swing in right now, kill a crazy amount of drones, and force the Roaches to come back.
Yeah, but how many times have we seen where a Terran player does this and then they just die to the A move?
I know, Nate. I'm just trying to look at the best side, on the bright side of things.
This is where my Terran bias makes me very sad.
This is going to be very difficult. We see 22 Roaches running across the map, 5 more. What do we have for Illusion? We have 9 Marines. Well, guys, I don't know, Nate.
Yeah. Well, like I said, if you don't prepare specifically for this build, you almost always die, and Illusion just doesn't have what he needs to defend this.
Yep.
I'm surprised that this is happening only because Illusion wouldn't really need to watch too many games of Check to actually know that he does this a lot.
He does have Stim already, and he's actually using the SCVs. Now 1 Marauder pops out as well. He's trapping a couple of the Roaches. Obviously, he's going to lose a lot of SCVs, but he might be able to hang in there, Nate.
Not really sure. Okay. He's already down to half the supply of Check. He's still building Roaches. He's starting to saturate his third, and now that the Hellions have been cleaned up, the rest of the Roaches are going to come across the map, and Illusion, he's dead. Trying to put out additional forces against this is just going to be even more difficult now that the Zerg player is starting to saturate, and Check can move into 2-2 if he really wanted to. But I think just building Roaches is also an okay choice. He's going to kill off the majority of the forces in his main base, but now the next wave is here, and he's already losing. He's going to be down to what is he? He's less than 10 SCVs. He is actually at 3 SCVs. GG's called. Check's going to take game number 1, and I'm only... You know, I know Illusion's a good player. I like him a lot, considering myself friends with him, but I'm only disappointed because you really would not have to do like too many adjustments to make your build a little bit safer versus that. Just get your second and third barracks, only build 4 to 6 Hellions. Do what Bomber does. Get like 4 Hellions against a Roach player, because you don't need more than that, because we saw the Hellions are not going to do really anything. By the time you kill some drones, they've already built their 25 Roaches, and you're already dead, so...
Maybe if he would have sacrificed those first 4 Hellions immediately, as there was space as well in the ramp, and if he would have just drive up that ramp, and he would have gone into the natural...
When you see... So, like, the tricky part is his initial SCV didn't get to see whether there was a gas in the main base. And you say to yourself, well, I don't want to have to burn one of my scans on his main, because he might take his gas in the natural, or he might take his he might build his tech in his natural, which is perfectly reasonable. However, because he doesn't know that, he doesn't know that his opponent opened gasless, which means he doesn't know that he's going to go for Roaches. And you can kind of assume, but, you know, if Illusion assumes that he's going Roaches and he ends up going like 2 base Muta, then he might just die because he has like 3 Marauders and 8 Marines. But it's tricky. I would have preferred to see him run those Hellions in when he saw that the 3rd base was so late, because late 3rd always means some kind of fast tech or some big 2 base push.
Unfortunate start for our North American Terran, Root Illusion, but there's plenty of games left for him, as our second game is going to be played on Catalina, and we can just go ahead and jump into the game. It's a larger map, and it's, I would say, a tiny bit less likely that Czech is going for the exact same build as he did on Kingston Young Station. But, you know, Nate, out of all the things you said, I think one thing I agreed upon the most is just that if Illusion would have done his homework a tiny bit, then you kind of know that you can expect this from Czech. Like, obviously, Illusion should know his opponents better than we do. And if we both already say in the start of the game, I'd be surprised if Czech doesn't go for a 1-1 Roach timing, and then he does the exact thing, and he makes over a 20, and he wins with that so easily. That's a little bit unnecessary. We definitely don't want to be too critical of the guys. Because I played against Czech once, and believe it or not, I lost with Immortals, Archons. No, what did I had Stalkers, Sentries, Immortals, and Void Rays, and I lost against Roach Queen after I cannon rushed 2 bases. I have no idea how that happened. That should never happen in a million years, but somehow he killed me with Roach Queen. So I know how incredibly good this guy is, and definitely don't want to make it sound easier than it is, because it's so hard to go up against guys like this. But Illusion is so much better than me, so I expected
I wouldn't even be surprised if Czech did a similar build on this map. Like, I'm not saying like 1-1 Roach pushes are unstoppable, because we've seen players stop them, but it actually is unstoppable if you only have 1 barracks to produce off of. Like,
if you have 9 Marines against 22 Roaches.
If you have 9 Marines versus 22 Roaches. Like, doesn't matter how good your control is, just doesn't work.
Nope. I actually kind of like the amount of SVs that he pulled, and he did have stim, and I felt like he was doing okay, but there's just too much HP for those Roaches to soak up. They bite their way through all the SVs, and then eventually they will still get in range of all the Marines and all the Marauders. Either way, of course, Root Illusion. Chris Lee is our Terran player, representing United States, and Root spawning at the 9 o'clock position off Catalina, going up against the scary Korean Zerg player, Wei Spider Czech, who is representing the Taiwanese team, Wei Spire. Same team as San. You guys may have seen him a couple of times in WCS Europe. Definitely a very dangerous Korean Protoss player.
Yep. So this is going to be a different set of builds for both players this game. Illusion will move in. He's like, oh, that hatchery timing looks very normal. I'm not quite as concerned for him as far as the fast pool stuff goes, but he sees that gas is taken early on, and this definitely opens the door for some fast speedling play. However, I also wouldn't be surprised to see a fast lair because of how easily you can block off the natural expansion. And with the way that the 3rd base is set up on this map, I would be really surprised if, because like it goes 2 ways. The Hellions will have a hard time getting into the natural of Czech, but his Zerglings aren't really going to be able to get into Illusion's natural either.
He might be able to pick off a drone or 2 over here as his Reaper pops up really quickly. Here are the Zerglings. Nice. He got the first drone. He's going to not get the second one, but he might be able to swing in one more time and as soon as the Spore Crawler is cancelled. It's always risky to do that because you know that the Queen is about to spawn. This might be the moment though for the Reaper. I would love to see him try, Nate. Just one time.
Yeah, he's close.
He's
trying to make the plays.
Yes,
he
gets it. Now that's already a much better start for Illusion.
The scoop and score, man. Oh, but if the Reaper doesn't die, that'd be very sad. Okay, makes it out with barely a hit point to spare.
What a good start for Illusion, getting 2 drones in this phase in the game. That's more than you could ever wish for normally against a Zerg as good as Czech. Czech being a tiny bit sloppy there, canceled the Spore very early, even before the Queen was in position. Then you can sort of know sometimes that the Reaper is going to come back, but still very good play by Illusion.
Yeah, I like this opening from Illusion mostly because it gives him access to more information, so he can say to himself, well, it's very unlikely to be a 1-1 Roach push because one of the things that makes a 1-1 Roach push work is that you just don't have any drones doing anything other than mining minerals for the first few minutes. So it actually helps you build up the economy that you need to get that attack out fast enough. So what Illusion is going to do, he's got his Reaper running by the Octopus, but I think just get some Hellions. And this game probably going to play out much more normally, which I also like to see.
Yep, Speed is about to finish up for Czech. Of course, we're expecting nothing but drones on the production tab for a while. But every now and then you see them do something crazy, and this ramp is not completed yet. The Overlord has vision of that as well. He could have tried to do something crazy with a bunch of speed links, maybe pick off a few mules, pick off a few SUVs. This Zergling squad is not big enough, so now you don't want to sacrifice them, and he could have done it later on.
Yeah, I like where Illusion kept his army, though. On the top of that ramp, basically saying even if he did make, you know, somehow put out like 30 lings this quickly, because that Reaper didn't see the Zerglings move out, he would still be able to hold on because he would have that nice tight choke point to work with the Hellions. So he's just checking around. He's looking for that third base, and the third base is still a little bit later than you normally expect, but with the Reaper on the map, you can't really do much until speed's done anyway.
A few Zerg players like to do that these days. I think Kane likes to do this as well quite often. You just heavily saturate your two bases and then delay the saturate for a while. And you're just like, you know, it doesn't really matter. I don't really want to put my drones there yet anyways. I have a little bit less lava to work with, but since I delayed this hatchery, I can put a few extra minerals into drones and I will have better saturation on my two bases. Nothing wrong with this opening over here from Czech. Armory going down already for Illusion, so we're going to see some Hellbat play perhaps.
Yeah, really fast Hellbat push, and if your opponent isn't going for roaches, then Hellbats are almost never a bad choice.
Unless you're going up against Scarlets, he's always stopping this with his
there's some players that are just really good at stopping Hellbats without roaches. They are the exceptions to the rule of Hellbat's wrecking face. But I love that Illusion's bringing these Marines too, because even though his stim is unlikely to be done by the time he actually fights, these Marines just give you so much raw damage output because the Hellions have a very long delay between their attacks. Actually, one of them gets picked off. Yeah, really can't afford to lose them this early on.
No, but the Queens are now a little bit exposed as well. Transfuse is not going to land, so I would definitely trade a Hellion for a Queen. He's going to work on the second Queen as well. There is energy for transfusing the other Queen. Czech waits a very long time with dropping that transfuse, but eventually he will get it. Now the Hellbats will be transformed, and he roasts a couple of Zerglings immediately.
Yeah, that Queen has a transfuse, so attacking the Spine Crawler is not really going to work out for Illusion.
There's no drones over here.
I like killing this base, though. Might as well get something for it.
He's not going to kill this base.
He gets into a nice choke, man. Zerglings, Hellbats. I believe in the power of the Hellbat.
I believe in the Hellbat too, but I do not believe against three Queens. The Spine is in a very awkward position. This other Queen is a little bit zoned out right now, and this Queen doesn't have any energy. Now this other Queen is going to have to throw the transfuse from downtown. He will be able to land it. Spine is still going to help out.
Oh, that Spine actually got into a really nice position. Wow, okay.
Like the most awkward Spine ever.
I'm not sure about how far he went over there, but now he's going to hold this off. Okay, that was actually a pretty solid hold for Czech. I'm surprised. I think Illusion could have tried to box himself in. Like that Spine Crawler getting in so many hits was actually really important.
Yeah, maybe if he puts himself over here in the mineral line, because the one Queen did already go down.
That's when the Hellbats become OP.
It was a little sloppy there by Czech. I felt like that first Queen, it was definitely not something he had to lose. He's going to fire up his Lee in now 10 minutes and 20 seconds. That's a very late layer.
Yeah, he has delayed the tech significantly.
He is getting his 1-1 upgrades though, so that's of course a small explanation for it. But even then...
This gives Illusion a good second punch though with these medevacs because he doesn't have any answers. I mean, Illusion's actually... Oh, he's only started his +1 armor. He needs that attack upgrade. I wonder if he realizes that yet. It's like he's got his armory, but need to get those upgrades.
I don't think he did. There's no need to go double eBay ever. Gonna drop a couple of Marines below this Overlord, and no reason to go double eBay if you don't get both upgrades is of course what I mean. Double eBay is pretty good, don't get me wrong. He fires up +1 attack right now, so that's a good option for him. The explosion of Rex is only Illusion does it. Every now and then we see him up to like 10 Rexes on just 3 bases. While the third base is not even on location yet.
He's already getting vehicle upgrades too, so we're already seeing him look towards getting Thors or Hellbats again later on in this game. He's actually still building Hellions out of his reactor factory, which is interesting.
I mean, Czech is showing a very big commitment to Zerglings and Banelings, so Hellbats, you know, if they get in an okay position, they definitely won't do bad in a big fight.
No, I agree with you there. Illusion's got his third base planted down.
He's sick if Illusion can cancel the Spire. That's not going to be easy, as there are still a few Zerglings and Banelings, but he's going to drop the Marines in the main base right now. He doesn't see the Spire yet. If he would stim, he can kill these Zerglings. Zerglings do have the upgrades. No, not yet, actually.
No, the upgrades are right about to finish. Now they're done. Makes things a bit more difficult, but the Marines have already cleaned them up. He's going to pick up and boost away. These Marines are actually doing a pretty good job of distracting and pulling him around. However, that 4th base is still on the way, and he immediately starts his +2 upgrades. Very important.
Good thing for Illusion is he gets a very good feeling about when the Spire is ready, though. That's always nice to see as a Terran play. If you know the Spire is already wiggling, if he's already getting upgrades, or if it's just started. So now Illusion has a much better idea of when
Illusion
will show up.
has to feel good because he's had so much time, right? After that Hellbat attack, some Zerg players like to open up fast mutas to mess with that, but Illusion has had all this time to just build everything back home because you cannot really be harassed as a Terran player before Mutalisks are on the map unless you seriously mess up with an early push, which, you know, for all the lack of economic damage that early attack did, he certainly killed enough units to make it hard for Czech to counterattack, so he's had a lot of freedom out on the map. A lot more freedom than a lot of Terrans get.
7 Mutalisks are on the way now. +1 attack is about to finish up for Illusion, so if they would fight right now, he's actually even in upgrades. And he has a much bigger army than Czech. 81 army supply against 63. He does end up losing that one medevac with a few Marines in it. Transfuse is going to land. The creep has been very good so far for Czech, though. Mad props to him for that. There's a lot of cryptos here. Here come the Zerglings and Bailings, but they're a little hesitant, Nate. He's probably a little worried about these Hellbats after all.
Yeah, he's got a Widow Mine line behind his army too, just a couple of them, which a couple can get the job done if the Zerg player isn't properly prepared.
11 Banelings, but soon to be close to 20. 21 Banelings should be enough for Czech, especially on creep.
Yeah, and the Hellbats are helping a lot with the Zerglings. The Marines are moving forward from the back lines. And Illusion still has a pretty good amount of army supply as well. His 2 upgrades coming in, but those 2 upgrades are going to be done faster for Czech, who's now moving in. Widow Mines need some big hits, and they're getting them so far.
Wow. 17 kills on that first detonation over there. I guess a lot of Zerglings, threw down a couple of Banelings as well. So very good job. However, still 15 more Banelings on the way. During all this, Czech is comfortably mining of 75 drones. He doesn't have any drones yet on his 4th base, so he's slightly oversaturated, but still has a very good economy to work with. 2 upgrades are on the way for Illusion, but they will definitely be done a little bit quicker for Czech as they are for Illusion.
Yep. And Illusion starting to clear up the creep on the top side.
This might be a bad moment to fight soon, though, with 2 Zerglings and Banelings with just 1 on his bio. He did clear up a little bit of creep, like you mentioned.
The goal is creep. The goal is just kill the creep, and try to build up towards those later upgrades. I think, as you pointed out, those upgrades being faster for Czech means that Illusion really doesn't want to take a fight until he's at least even. Like, I don't know if there's a way to take a fight down on upgrades as Terrans.
Do you think that Czech is just gonna YOLO all in with the crazy amount of Zerglings and Banelings with 2 upgrades? Because look at the money that he has. Look at the Zerglings on the production tab. I don't really see him dropping the infestation pit right here, right now. I think he's gonna try to make something happen with just maxed out on upgrades.
I don't necessarily disagree, mostly because you don't want the Terran player to get up a 4th base in this matchup ever. But he also has to be careful because Illusion is the kind of player that looks for opportunities to make these big pushes. Kills that Queen, which is nice, but medevac should die. Not going to be able to hide. You do bring up a good point, though. There's enough forces here for Czech to get aggressive, but without that creep spread, he's going to give Illusion a better fight. Like, as a Zerg, you never look to take fights on creep because the Terran player is usually the one that has to attack you anyway at some point.
We're looking at 7 Widow Mines now out of 2 factory production as both armies are getting close to each other in the middle of the map. Widow Mines are all the way in front. Eventually the Banelings will sacrifice on those Widow Mines. This Czech was probably a little bit worried that they would shoot when the mines were running back, or the Banelings were. So he's ending up losing quite a few Banelings there, Nate, but he still has plenty of Banelings to work with. Illusion has to be so careful stepping on creep, though.
Yeah, the Thor helping out to pepper away at these Mutalisks. The Banelings are getting through so far, but as long as there are some Marines left over with these Thor, then there's a lot more that Illusion can do. However, he's still so far away from actually harassing Czech's economy that Czech will be able to continue to put out tons and tons of forces. These Banelings moving in. Widow Mine. Picks off the Banelings, which isn't bad. Not bad at all.
It's an okay trade, and of course, you know, Illusion being on 4 bases, that is a good scenario for the Terran.
He's got cash money.
Yeah, especially because 3 upgrades are on the way from him. We did see the infestation pit go down, but no hive yet. Well, there we go, he just fired it up. But still, Illusion is going to have a nice window of opportunity where he will actually have the better upgrade. That's something that looked very unlikely a couple of minutes ago. So, it's not all bad news. Czech is having way more minerals than he has gas, by the way. I guess it's just because he's been morphing crazy amounts of Banelings and also a lot of Mutalisks. So far, Unislav's resource step definitely in favor of Chris.
Yeah, the Terran player's been doing a reasonable job so far. This game has actually been pretty nice back and forth, especially considering how this series started. He's going to move up to a 3rd factory as well. I really love the Thor in the mix. Like, Thor just adds so much extra pressure and threat. I don't know, this is a very small amount of Marines to run out on the map here with.
A lot of Banelings actually detonating on that Marauder though, but eventually the Thor will be taken care of. These Widow Mines did not get the shots as they did earlier in this game. So Czech will stabilize for now, still on his 4 bases. I don't think he has lost any drones throughout the entirety of this game. No, he didn't.
Yeah, oh, this Thor's actually getting a lot of damage in. Needs to watch out. The Mutos are starting to die.
Whoa.
This has been a really intense game so far.
This is kind of like a stereotype Czech game though. Like other than the roach stuff, which he definitely does very often on maps like Overgrove and King's Young Station, Czech likes to just mass out a ridiculous amount of units. A little bit similar to Tutming, even though Tutming would probably take 1 more base than Czech did. But above all, he's morphed so many Zerglings and Banelings. He currently has 100 Zerglings on his unit count tab. He's making a few more. He's making 7 Mutalisks more as well. Does he have +2 fly attacks or +1? Just +1. And Illusion is gonna have +3 on his vehicle.
Czech's had his hive and a little bit of bank for a while. I'm surprised that he hasn't moved towards those hive tech upgrades like adrenal glands. But these Zerglings are gonna move in against Blue Flame Hellbats. The Baneling count is actually really low here. I'm not sure what Czech's thinking.
That was a massacre. We just lost 70, 80 Banelings.
You need Banelings to make that work, man.
He just lost like 70 or 80 Zerglings, didn't really get a whole lot done, and suddenly Illusion is knocking on the front door of Czech with a maxed out Terran army. These Hellbats with +3 upgrades, almost +3, are really doing some serious work. These Zerglings will never morph into Banelings.
Yeah, he's just going to clean up. He's sweeping this whole army under the rug here. The Thor actually annihilating all of the Mutalisks at this point, and the Marines that are continuing to stream in aren't going to be stopped either. The Ultralisk Cavern is on the way, but I think it's a little, too late.
Yeah, it's a beautiful game by Illusion, actually, from start to finish. Take a look at the unit's lost resource tab. Czech has lost 10,000 resources more. Like, if you morph all these Zerglings into Banelings, eventually you need to absolutely crush the Terran army. You can't just be trading Banelings against Marines all day, every day, especially if you never really do any economic damage on the other side of the map. Eventually a couple of Banelings will connect with these Marines, but Illusion is still maxed out, and Czech will tap out. GG. The Root Terran player from North America actually follows game 1 up, which was a little disappointed, with a very, very strong game 2 on Catalina.
I'm impressed. That was a pretty good game by Illusion. The performance there didn't really make too many mistakes as far as his macro goes. And in a situation like that, when you're up against a player that's up in a 1-0 lead, it's easy for things to fall apart. But surprisingly, Czech didn't really get to use the advantage of playing on a map that big. He wasn't able to really get aggressive. He wasn't able to get phenomenal creep spread. And even though I don't think at any point Illusion ever had units in his 4th base, like, he just could not make the money that he had work for him.
Because it works the other way around as well. Not one time did we see Czech send a couple of Zerglings to the south side of the map, morph into Banelings, try to roll into the mineral line. Not one time Czech was in a position to actually deal some economic damage to Illusion. And if you let Illusion just go up to 4 bases and fire up his 3-3 upgrades, it's just a matter of time before he will get a good fight. And, you know, as cool as 100 Zerglings on the unit count tab looks, against Hellbats and 3-3 Marines in the middle of the map and a bunch of Widow Mines in the mix.
You need Banelings with that.
Yeah. Your 100 Zerglings will turn into 27 very, very quickly, and you won't get a whole lot done.
Yeah,
and they didn't even have like 3-3 upgrades or adrenal glands.
Yeah, I felt like the game had a nice and forth going up until that big decisive fight, because, yeah, it's like, oh, Zerglings are cheap, but when you lose 100 of them, that adds up. Yeah. And it's a pretty expensive loss for Czech. And the Remax is going to burn through your whole bank, and he didn't even want to he actually didn't want to rebuild units after that fight because he had an Ultralisk Cavern on the way. So, like, what are you supposed to do? Because you see, like, right as he comes in here, there's
Look at
so
all
few.
These Zerglings.
There's no Banelings. They need 3 in the back. It's nothing.
Look at these Hellbats.
And these Mutas clump up like mad too as this Thor just pummels away.
Suddenly, Illusion is still maxed out. And Czech fires up a lot of additional Zerglings, but it was just all a little too late. And I think it's just above all, whenever you see Zerg plays on this level play ZVT, if they make that many Banelings, then on a certain point you're supposed to be aggressive. You can't just defend, like put all your gas into Mutalisk and Banelings, but then never ever ever attack with it. That just doesn't really work in this matchup. Because in the end, yeah, you're going to trade, but you're going to clean up a couple of Widow Mines and Marines for all your gas units.
What most Zergs like to do is they get enough Banelings to sit back and defend, and then have the Mutalisks go out and harass. But he never even tried to leave his base with the Mutalisks, and that's either because you could say Illusion just kept enough pressure on, or Czech didn't feel comfortable defending with just Zerglings and Banelings, and if you're only trying to win the game by defending against the Terran, and you let them take that 4th, if you let them get all those upgrades and don't do anything, you don't take a crazy number of bases yourself, yeah, you're kind of dead.
even though like Chris didn't go crazy on the drops, he did keep some pressure on, you know, every now and then, just a single medevac, but that's at least enough to keep the Mutalisk at bay, because you don't want to have 8 Stim Marines working on your drone line, because suddenly you know, 16 drones, they will disappear like nothing. So Illusion did keep some pressure on, and even though his drops were not super successful, he at least kept the Mutalisk at home, and he made sure that he never lost any SCVs himself.
Another important thing is the way that he made that early push, build momentum for him. Illusion didn't kill any drones that first attack, but he forced a lot of larvae to be spent on Zerglings, and most importantly, as we noticed, he started his lair at like 10.5 minutes. So if you don't have those early Mutalisks, and the Terran player already has their third base defended and secured, as a Zerg, one of the biggest opportunities to get a lead in this matchup is to get some pressure done on the third base to delay it, either an Overlord dumping creep, or Mutalisks to pick off a few SCVs, or before there's a bunker, just hit it with a lot of Lings and Banelings. But when you're slowed down and delayed that much, there's no opportunity to make that happen. And in that case, Illusion's like, well, I've got 10 barracks, hold down the A key and spam out Marines.
Yeah, especially because he focused so much on the upgrades. I really kind of expected him to, you know, use his macro, as Czech has Beastly macro, to just max out on a ridiculous amount of Zerglings, Banelings, and a couple of Mutalisks, and just roll forward and try to crush the economy of Illusion, try to let him go, not go up to 4 bases. But that never really happened, and you can't just defend forever with 2-2 against 3-3.
No.
Especially not with that many Banelings.
No, it doesn't work.
Either way, we are live when ready. We are going to hop into game number 3, which is going to be played on Merry-Go-Round. So that should be fun. If Illusion wins this series, he's going to go up against the reigning champion of WCS America, SC2. Big baby. As he's called on Twitter, I believe. Yeah. That's why I'm going to call him SC2 Big Baby from now on. He did get a lot of followers after Season 2, but he deserves more. He deserves all the love.
All these guys deserve all the love.
Mm-hmm.
In the top left position, we got the Red Zerg player. We have made it to a tied series. This has been a pretty good match so far. Representing Wave Spider, it is Czech. Now this is a good map for roaches. Lots of people like roaches on this map.
I don't know, Nate. Not sure if you should jinx it out like that. Over here on the 6 o'clock position of the map, we have our North American Terran player, trying to follow the footsteps of another young North American Terran that already advanced to the round of 16. That was Neep a little more over a week ago. Can Illusion do the same today? Like I said, it's Illusion. We already have one Root Terran as well in the round of 16 as Major qualified. I guess. Excuse me, I guess.
Yeah.
Major will be in action later next week, I guess then?
Yeah, I believe so. Next week. This fast drone scout actually almost kills an SCV. Still a chance. Hashtag the dream to kill an SCV building the barracks. And also hashtag worst nightmare for a Terran player. Oh!
Getting close.
Oh no, come on. No. See, this is actually what could like put you on tilt for the rest of the game. I know, because it does to me when whenever it happens to me.
Drones do look a little fierce though. Like they have like their little claws ready.
Giant lobster claws, man. You ever try to arm wrestle a lobster?
No, I did not.
Not a good idea.
I would actually be scared of a lobster. If I would see a lobster, I'd run away.
You wouldn't grab the butter?
No. See, Illusionist SV is heading towards the right direction as well, so he's going to see, like, alright, everything looked kind of standard for you so far. You did take an extractor. With a little bit of luck, Illusion, no, not just luck, Illusion will be able to see that there is an extractor. And that is very important, because now he knows that it's not the gasless opening that he faced on King's Young Station, which he wasn't able to scout back then.
Nope. Very nice read, being able to see what's going on here.
It's also an okay map for Roach Bane, and I definitely know that's one of the strategies that Czech busts out once in a blue moon. And I feel if there's one map in the current map pool where you'd like to bust out some Roach Bane action, it's probably this one.
Yeah. Oh, Lucian got these Marines on the map looking for Overlords.
Oh, he's so close!
He's gonna find it.
No!
Oh! Wow, that's really upsetting. That was me.
I'm not sure if he would have been able to get it though, because it's so close to the edge that the Overlord would go down and the Marines would have to go all the way, take the detour, and I think then Zerglings would be there to the rescue.
Yeah.
But yeah, then again, Marines can out-micro the slow links off creep. So.
No, he did build 6 though. I think he built 6 links. Yeah. He actually would. You're right though. Yeah, it's actually good for him that he didn't see that Overlord, because he would have lost these Marines then.
Here you go, Nate.
Sometimes it's tricky, because like I like to do this. I like to move a couple Marines out and look for Overlords, and then you're like, oh, I didn't find any. But how many Overlords saw my Marines, you know? It's like I got so close, but it's like, do I take 2 steps further? No. 2 steps? No. You don't find any. It's very upsetting.
Overlord hunting is one of the most fun things to do in StarCraft 2. Overlord's actually my favorite unit to kill, because they explode so squishy.
Oh yeah. Yeah, they actually have, like, since they added the physics in Heart of the Swarm, they Overlord deaths, like, some of them just, man, it's like you're popping a blimp.
Jack takes control of the zone. Naga watch down in the middle of the map. Hasn't seen a whole lot in Illusion's side of the map, but so far no third command center yet by Illusion. Actually gonna fire up a starport, Nate, before he's gonna go up to 3 bases this time. What kind of an opening is this? Just
I wonder if we're gonna see a somewhat later second gas, because this somewhat right now reminds me of a little ways that Polt likes to play, where it looks like it's a third command center build, and then he just doesn't get a third command center, and instead finishes that wall more quickly. But
and suddenly gets a crazy amount of Rexes on 2 bases.
Yeah, well, to be fair, that would be a really good counter to some of the Roach play that we've seen. So I wouldn't be, really opposed to it. However, that being said, this was another speed opening, but he's going to go into Hellbats again. So I have to imagine that it's going to be maybe a big Hellbat drop. I don't know.
2 extractors taken in the natural of Czech, but he's also getting his Roach one, so he's going to go up to 3 extractors. Kind of curious. We do see this hatchery go down as well, Nate. I have the feeling that Czech might want to trick us, but he is on a very high drone count already, and he's making a few more. So on 41, this will most likely just be a defensive Roach one, get a couple of Roaches out to deal with the Hellions that will be knocking on your front base soon. If these 4 Hellions would actually suicide in the natural now, they would have the time of their life. Like if Illusion would have the vision that we have, he would run them straight into the natural, and he would kill 12, 15 drones.
Yeah. He's got to be careful. Oh, there's a Baneling nest. All right. I was thinking that this could be possible, because you made a really good point. That third could be just a nice fake. He could, the third base could actually just be a macro hatchery at this point to help get more Roaches.
Yeah, I think Czech is gonna go for Roach Bane. I love him gonna make a correct call in this matchup, Nate. Couple of Marines will be dropped on top of these Roaches. Illusion probably a little bit confused. He's like, hey, that's a lot of Roaches. Isn't that a few too many Roaches for you to just macro up? You don't really want to lose your units in this phase in the game, because Illusion can use every single unit he can potentially get. He's going to send the medevac to the main base with 4 Hellions in it. Now these Hellions...
Those Hellions aren't going to do anything for him back home against Roaches.
He doesn't really have anything at home, Nate.
Yeah, he needs to... He's building Marauders. He needs to get out... I want to say Widow Mines, but actually Hellions wouldn't be too terrible. These Hellbats, man, that transformation time.
A little too late.
If he had transformed them as soon as he dropped them in, I think they could have done a lot more.
Now our North American Terran is suddenly in a lot of trouble, as he doesn't really have a whole lot of units at home. He's going to try to let one bunker finish up, and he will get that bunker to finish up.
Those Banelings are about to finish, man. Oh, no.
And a lot of Zerglings streaming across the map as well. Here comes the Baneling Pain Train. Doesn't really want to use all of them on a bunker that doesn't have too many units in it. Gets connected with a lot of SCVs, though.
Yeah, he's got a Viking here. There's another Marauder finishing up, but... this is still really difficult. Okay, he's going to burst some Widow Mines. He does have the potential to make some big plays here on these Roaches. Just picking off 1 or 2 is actually a huge power knockout of this force. But I still think with the rallied reinforcements, with this many more Zerglings coming in and no more Hellions, it's not enough. GG Czech is going to take the his first match of the day. 2-1 over the American Terran player Root. Illusion.
As good as this is for Czech, and of course a well-executed Roach Bane attack on a map where it's still pretty popular in this day and age of StarCraft 2, and Czech is definitely one of the Zergs that likes to bust out a build like this every now and then. I said it in the start of the game. I do not think that Illusion has to feel too bad about this series, Nate, because you have to think about the format that we're using. You know, the losers are going to play against each other, so that means that our next series is going to be Shana versus Illusion. Then the winners will go up against each other, Pig Baby versus Czech. Now, with the way that Pig Baby is played last season, there's a very big chance that Pig Baby will end up winning this group, and that if Illusion is able to defeat Shana, Illusion can go up against Czech again. And you would say if everything plays out normal, how you kind of expect things to play out, if you look at who you think is going to defeat who in this group, there's a chance they go up against each other again. Then I think that Illusion doesn't have that much to fear about builds like this. Okay, he was a little unprepared for it. But in the next season, in the one game that got truly played out, Illusion hold his ground on Catalina. Yeah, and even though he lost, I don't think it's all over yet.
No, I kind of look at this, when I look at this group overall, I said to myself, well, I think if Illusion wants to get out of this group, he's going to have to beat Czech.
Yep, in the Deciders match.
In the Deciders match. Whether or not he beats Czech this series isn't actually as significant, because I think Illusion could, after seeing Shana play against Pig Baby, I like Illusion versus Shana as long as he's done some homework. Yeah. I think the fact that it's not possible for him to do homework because there's no games of Shana should tell him enough that he should be prepared and be cautious. But yeah, I don't really see Czech beating Pig Baby either. Yeah. That's just my personal opinion though. But we're gonna go into that losers match as you said. Next match will be a Terran versus Protoss. It's going to be Shauna versus Illusion. The first player to get eliminated from Group D here at WCS America Premier League. We'll be right back with that match after this short commercial break.